beautiful people, welcome back to the Segens Giving series. If you're new to my channel, my name is Segen Misghina, and all week long I'm going to be sharing my Thanksgiving meal recipes. So if you're interested in today's video in collard greens, continue watching. All right, so far we've made the easiest cranberry sauce. So far we've made the easiest cornbread. So far we've made the easiest, most delicious mashed potatoes. So far we've made the easiest, most delicious homemade stuffing. Like, it's so simple, and I love that I'm sharing it with you guys this year. So if you're interested to see how I make my delicious collard greens, continue watching. Again, as usual, I will leave all of the ingredients in the description box below. That way you guys can take your screenshot or whatever you need to do when you guys go into the grocery store and make sure you pick up all the ingredients. You're welcome. But first, you already know I have to give a major shout out to the following people right over here. Thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing to my channel. It really does mean a lot. If you want a shout out like them, all you have to do is click the notification bell, let me know that you're a new subscriber in the comment section down below, and I'll give you a shout out on tomorrow's video. It's that easy. So without further ado, let's get started with making collard greens. Guys, look at all of these collard greens. Oh my god. These all have to be washed. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's get started on rinsing off these collard greens. All right, so let's start by rinsing off the collard greens, and I'm going to take off the leaf from the stalk. I feel like this is optional. Some people still like leave this, but for me, it's a bit too bitter, so I like to take this off. But if you guys like to keep it on, feel free, but I don't. Look at that. Look at how beautiful this leaf looks. Oh. So we have a bunch of collard greens left. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to actually take my strainer. I'm gonna give it a good rinse. And then we are going to start with washing off the collard greens. This is filling up my entire sink. So you are gonna need a really big pot when you make collard greens. So before we get into all of that, I'm just going to rinse these off and leave it on my strainer. Okay, so to chop up my collard greens, I actually lay them out like this, and then I roll them up, and then I chop them like that. And I'm done. Really simple. Okay, so to get started, you're gonna need a massive pot, like huge. So I'm gonna add a bit of olive oil to the pot here, and about a tablespoon of butter. The reason why I like to use a big pot is because I'm telling you, with collard greens, they take up a lot of space and they wilt down a lot, which you'll see in a second. So while the butter melts, I'm going to chop up some onions. Okay, so to get started, we're gonna start off with one whole onion. I'm using one white onion, but you could use red onion if you have at home. Yellow onion would work just fine, but I'm gonna be using white onion for this recipe. And I'm just going to cut it in the middle here and take off the skin. So I just gave my onions a bit of a rinse. If you guys remember the hack that I like to do with my cutting board, because I can't stand when my cutting board moves while I'm trying to chop. So what I like to do is I like to take a damp paper towel or cloth, and then I like to put it right underneath my cutting board. That way it's a little bit more sturdier for me. Perfect. It's not wiggly at all. So I'm gonna get started with chopping up the onions. My eyes are getting watery. Ooh wee. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same to the other half here. You would think like my eyes are trained by now, because every Saturday morning my mom would just chop up onions, because that's the day my mom would make like our traditional food. Oh my gosh. But my eyes aren't trained yet. I don't know what's going on. Oh my god. I almost have to I want to close my eyes, but I also don't want to chop off my hand. So our pot is sizzling right now and it's ready for our onions. So I'm going to add our onions directly to the pot here. Beautiful. Just gonna add all of that. So I'm gonna take my wooden spoon here and mix it all in. And next we're gonna add some garlic. You guys already know. If you guys aren't new to my channel, then you guys already know we're gonna use the garlic press for this. That's my favorite tool in the kitchen. It is smelling so good. Holy smokes. I'm gonna use my garlic press right over here. Squeeze. I got all that garlic, look at that. So easy, so fast. I love it. And I got this from the dollar store for like, I think $3 or $4. Best investment for the kitchen, especially if you love garlic as much as I do. Then I think you guys will find this very useful, because I cook a lot with garlic. I think with the exception of like breakfast, I think I have garlic in almost all of my meals. Scrape that off and we are good. So I think I may have added 5 cloves of garlic, 5 to 6 cloves of garlic. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And just a little bit of salt. The reason why I'm not adding too much salt is because we are going to be adding a little bit of chicken stock, and most importantly we're going to be using our smoked turkey leg. So our smoked drumstick does have a lot of that salty flavor to it. The salt that I added right now is just really to help us out with sweating out the onions. So I've moved it to a medium-high heat. We're going to let that sizzle a little bit, and then we're going to add our drumstick just to get that Thanksgiving in the air. I'm just gonna add a little bit of thyme. Adding thyme right now is really optional. I just really love thyme during Thanksgiving, so I'm just adding a little bit of that. But like I said, it's completely optional. You don't have to do this. All right, so we're gonna let that sweat out a little bit, and then we're gonna add our drumstick. Okay, so our onions and our garlic are nice and cooked down. I actually put it down to a medium, and now we're ready to add our drumstick. So I'm gonna be adding a smoked drumstick. You can substitute this with bacon if you'd like. I personally don't eat pork, but it's entirely up to you. But I get this smoked drumstick from the butcher shop, so I'm just gonna add it into our pot here. Now typically people like to add this after they add their chicken stock and their water and stuff like that. But I don't know, I like to heat it up, make sure it gets all of that goodness at the bottom of the pot, and this is going to be a long process, because the way that the drumstick looks now is going to be completely different from how it's going to end up looking, because as it cooks down, as it kind of, oh my god, the smell, holy smokes, it's making me lose my train of thought because it smells so good already. As it cooks down, the meat is going to be nice and tender. It's going to pretty much fall off the bone, and that's how good and flavorful these collard greens are gonna taste. Oh my god. But this is a bit of a long process, so if you guys are making Thanksgiving, I would start this right in the beginning. I would actually make this your first priority and make this right in the morning, because this will take a really long time. And again, like I mentioned, the smoked turkey drumstick does have a lot of that salty flavor. Much like if you were to substitute this with bacon, you wouldn't add so much salt to the pot, because bacon's super salty. Same thing with the smoked turkey drumstick. Oh my god, guys. So next I'm gonna add my chicken stock. So again, I'm using the same chicken stock I used in the stuffing recipe. It has less sodium, so if you guys are again watching your sodium intake and are just trying to, you know, behave when it comes to your salt, then I would definitely reach for a low sodium chicken stock. But this is the chicken stock that I'm going to be using. I'm just going to add that into the pot here. And then I'm also gonna add about a cup of water. If for whatever reason you find that it's really salty, I would just add more water. I'm gonna move my burner again to a medium high heat, and then I'm gonna cover it. It's gonna simmer, it's going to be nice and tender, and then we're gonna add our collard greens. All right, so it's been about an hour, so let's check on our drumstick. Woo. Okay, so do you guys see that? It's cooking down, it's looking good. I did add another cup of water to kind of help with the process a little bit. But before I add the collard greens, I'm going to add a little bit of paprika. So I just added a couple tablespoons of paprika, and that is gonna add to the flavor. It's gonna taste really, really good. The paprika is optional. If you don't like it spicy, then you don't have to add paprika at all. Or if it's a bit too spicy, you can add more chicken stock or maybe even half of the amount that I put in. So I'm gonna let that simmer a bit, and then we're gonna add our collard greens. So it's time for us to add our collard greens. So I'm gonna slowly add that in to our pot. Oh, this is like one of my favorite sides. I'm just gonna add all that. Do you see why you need a really big pot? And this is half of the amount that I need to add. So trust me, you're gonna save yourself a headache and a lot of time if you just grab the biggest pot you have at the house. So I'm just gonna add all of these collard greens. I have a lot more to add. And there we have it, guys. Every bit of collard greens I chopped up. So I'm gonna let that do its thing. I'm gonna turn the heat down to a medium, and that's gonna slow cook for us. Keep in mind, if you have like an Instapot or a slow cooker, you can easily do this recipe on that as well. I personally have the Instapot, but the smaller version, so it won't necessarily work with all the collard greens, but if you do have that, I would highly recommend making this recipe on the Instapot for sure. So I'm gonna check on the collard greens. Let's see. Yes, it is looking good. It is smelling even better. Oh my God. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna, you see what I mean? It was like up to here and it's already wilted down. So I'm just gonna give this a bit of a toss. I like my collard greens cooked down a little bit more, but look at that turkey leg. Look at this turkey. Oh my God. Look at this. Look at this. It's just giving us everything we need. So that is pretty much doing what we want it to do. Its duty is to give us all the flavor, all that love. My mouth is watering, guys, as it does in almost all of the videos that I've been posting on the Segensgiving series. Oh, by the way, do you see how it's like, do you see? It's only been about, I want to say 30 minutes. Hasn't been very long, really. So yeah, it's been about 30 minutes. So I'm gonna let this do its thing. I'm gonna work on some other stuff. And that's why I think it's really important, if you guys are, you know, organizing the night before of how you're making Thanksgiving, this dish should be one of the first on your list. So let it, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Just fall off the bone. Oh my God. Okay, so again, just like yesterday with the pumpkin pie, like I was ready to eat it right out of the oven, like right out of the oven. So I'm gonna let this do its thing, and I'm gonna cover it up. Do you see how much it reduced now? Do you see? That's why it's really important to save yourself the headache, the hassle, and just get yourself a really big pot, because although it reduces down, it doesn't start off like that, as you guys saw earlier. So, oh my God. Yes. yes, yes. So I'm gonna give this, I think, another 30 to 40 minutes. I like mine cooked down a lot. You can stop at this point. It's really up to your preference as far as like how you like your collard greens. So I'm gonna let that do its thing. I'm gonna cover it up and then we're gonna check up on the collard greens in a bit. All right, so let's check up on the collard greens. Oh, yes. It's been about 40 minutes, 47 minutes to be exact. And this is what collard greens look like. Oh. Okay, do you guys see that? Oh my god. Okay, let me bring that drumstick closer to the screen. I don't know how people that host cooking shows don't drool, or like, I don't get how they have like a perfect time with like speaking. Like, it's hard to speak with these cooking videos. Anyways, do you see how it just kind of just falls off? Do you see what that is? That's just flavor. Oof. Oh. You know what? Let me grab my fork. All right, so let me just show you. Oh my god, look at that. Just off the bone. Which means all the flavor. I can't even speak. I am clearly speechless when it comes to these collard greens. I don't know why I have to sing. Oh my god. Okay. I'm just gonna grab a tong here so I can, you know, grab onto this bone real quick. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Do you remember how it looked like in the beginning? Oof, my god. Okay, so by the way, for the vegans out here that are watching this, I literally made this last week with no turkey bone and everyone loved it. So don't feel like, oh man, I can't enjoy collard greens because of the meat. You can always substitute the chicken stock with vegetable stock and you don't have to add in the meat. However, for our meat lovers out there, add that meat. So I'm gonna let this cool for a bit. I'm gonna plate it and we're pretty much done. That's it. Collard greens is finito. Check mark off your list. And there we have it, guys. My delicious collard greens with smoked turkey leg. I just tried it, guys, and that little bit of salt that we added at the beginning of the video was all that it needed. That flavor from the turkey leg was just enough salt that we need. So I strongly encourage you guys not to add any additional salt and to use a chicken stock with low sodium because there is a lot of flavor in that smoked turkey drumstick. With that being said, this is such an easy recipe that you guys have to try. My favorite thing to have this with is sweet potato, which I'm going to be showing you guys in tomorrow's video. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel, make sure you click that bell notification, that way you can watch that video right away. And there we have it, guys, my homemade collard greens. Alright, so that wraps up today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick and easy collard greens recipe. If you guys like this video, give this video a big thumbs up. Remember to share it with your family and friends. I hope you guys have an amazing holiday. I hope you guys have an amazing Thanksgiving. If you guys want to keep up to date with all the videos that I post, make sure you click that notification bell. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!